Good health to all from Rexall.
From Hollywood, it's the Jimmy Durante Show.
Ink, a dinkity, a dinkadoo, a dinkity. Walk to it. Ink, a dinkity, a dinkadoo, a dinkity.
Yes, 10,000 Rexall drugstores who carry the complete line of top-quality Rexall drug products bring you the Jimmy Durante Show with Peggy Lee, Candy Candido, Roy Bargy and his orchestra, the Crew Chiefs Quartet, yours truly, Howard Petrie, and our special guest again, the lovable Victor Moore. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man who made medical history by using up 7 gallons of ether just to put his nose to sleep. The one and only Jimmy Durante is present.
You gotta start off each day with a song. Welcome home, Snuzz. Even when things go wrong.
Boy, are we glad you're back.
You feel better. You even look better.
Jimmy, the whole bunch of us are happy that you're well enough to be back on the radio again. Why, for 4 weeks we couldn't eat.
Yeah, we couldn't sleep.
Yeah, and we couldn't drink.
Who are these people, Jimmy? Fans of yours?
No relatives. You know, one of them was caught looking through the help wanted column, and he was exiled from the family. You know, folks, I'm grateful. I want to thank you one and all for this wonderful reception. You know, it's good to be back on the air again talking to my many friends. And if you folks in the audience will all come backstage after the program and form a single line, I'll show you my operation. It's hand-stitched.
Oh, well, Jimmy, we're certainly glad you're well again. You know, Jim, there's been a lot of illness around.
Yes, everybody has got the voices.
Yeah.
The voices X. Even my doctor, Dr. Balan, had it. Yeah. He had to call on another doctor, and there's one thing that puzzles me.
What's that, Schnoz?
When a doctor's a doctor, does the doctor being doctor the doctor like the doctor wants to be doctored, or does the doctor want to be doctored the way the doctor would doctor the doctor? That's doctoring the doctor. How do you like that? I'm out of the hospital one day, and the writers are trying to send me back.
Say, Jimmy, tell me, how was it in the hospital? Were you comfortable?
As comfortable as one can be with a leaky hot water bottle. For 2 days, I thought I was defrosting. It wouldn't happen with a Rexall product.
No, sir.
No, not in your life. Then to add insult to perjury, they're giving me them big words again. Then to add insult to perjury, a nurse walks in and puts a newborn baby in bed with me.
No.
And I says, wait a minute, nurse, there must be some mistake. This didn't show up in the X-ray. Just then the baby started to cry and grabbed my nose. He thought it was an 8-ounce bottle.
Well, Jim, that's all behind you now. How did it feel getting back to your home again?
Howard, I was deeply touched and overcome with a feeling of neuralgia. After 4 weeks away from home, I opened the front door, and guess what rushed out to greet me?
What?
The furniture. I left the water running in the bathtub. I found my cocker spaniel on a mantel, nailing cigars together for a rat.
Well, the sponsor wants you to take it easy, so they've hired this young lady here standing beside me. She's a nurse.
A nurse?
Yes, I'm Candy.
If this is candy, it's been in the vending machine too long. I'd rather have an old Nick. Tell me, miss, what experience have you had?
Well, once a patient of mine was reading a magazine when suddenly his temperature went up.
Then it went down,
Then up.
then down,
Then up.
then down.
What caused that?
Not enough ice eggs.
Too much Esquire.
Well, I don't know if I need a nurse, but if I do, I'll get in touch with you.
Oh, goody. You can call me at Hillside 9970. And if a man answers, don't hang up.
It's me.
You know... You know, with a couple of voices like that kid could go steady with himself. But I don't need a nurse, Howard.
Of course not. Why, Durante is as good as he ever was.
And still the darling of the corset crowd. Why, you should have seen me last night at that welcome home party, attended in my honor by the social leaders of Beverly Hills. Let me tell you about it, Howard.
Tell, Jim.
I never in my lifetime was so delighted Honest, I'm as happy as a clown. It happened at a musicale where I was invited in the swankiest home in this town. I knew the joint was swanky. There was a doily under every cuspidor. What a party. I rubbed elbows with Ivy. I rubbed elbows with Shostakovich. I rubbed elbows with Rubinstein. I had to rub elbows with them. They wouldn't shake hands with me. After dinner, Ivy sat down and played his latest concerto. Then Shostakovich obliged with his latest etude. And then Rubinstein thrilled the crowd with a Sinatra he composed. After the applause subsided, all eyes turned upon me. And why not? I was sleeping. Ignoring the hostile stares of the hoipaloo, I walked to the piano, took my music out of my back pocket, which was wrapped around a salami sandwich. Then I sat down at the Steinway for the first time to present my symphony, my melody, and this is how it went. Chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Someday the world will recognize this lovely thing. I know the day will come when Frank and Bing will sing. Chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why, when I first sat down at the piano, the people cheered. In the middle of my concert, the people howled. And when I finished playing, a little old lady jumped up on the piano and bit me. And to add to my humiliation, somebody stole my salami sandwich. Believe me, folks, history will be made when I introduce my symphony at the Hollywood Bowl. I can just hear that string section. I can just hear that brass section. I can just hear the saxophones and oboes. Wait a minute. Another outburst like that and your drums go back to Sears and Roebuck. Folks, visualize a symphony orchestra behind me. An audience of 90,000 in front of me. A spotlight hitting me, and Durante singing, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Suppose your girl refuses you a goodnight kiss. There's just one thing to do you'll never miss with this. Chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat, chitty beat. And she'll go, yeah, 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 yeah.
If you want to be sure that the product is pure when you ask for a drug preparation, buy the Rexall line at the Rexall sign of Rexall identification.
Yes, you can be sure that more than 2,000 different drug products are pure when they bear the name Rexall. For the familiar name Rexall stands for purity, quality, and reliability in a complete line of drug products. It's no wonder that Rexall has won first place in the medicine cabinets of millions of American homes. So, for any and for all of your drug needs, always buy Rexall at Rexall drugstores throughout the nation, where 25% of America buys its drug products.
If you want to be sure that the product is pure when you ask for a drug preparation, buy the Rexall line at the Rexall sign of Rexall identification.
Good health to all from Rexall.
It's good to hear those Rexall commercials again. You know, folks, during the 4 weeks that I was recuperating...
Hey, Jimmy.
Oops!
What's the trouble, Schnoz?
Oh, thank heavens it's you, Howard. Nowadays, when anybody sneaks up on me, I figure it's penicillin. Every 3 hours you turn over. What seems to be on your mind, Mr. P?
Well, Jimmy, there's an old friend of yours here who wants to see you.
If you knew Susie like I know Susie.
Eddie Cantor.
What? Well, Jimmy, Jimmy, I didn't know you were going to be here tonight. I came over to take your place.
Thank you, Eddie, but I got a bone here to pick with you.
Me, Jimmy?
Yeah, on your last broadcast, there was a guy in your program that sounded just like me. And everybody, even the sponsor, thought it was Durante.
Well, that's silly, Jimmy. That wasn't you. As a matter of fact, I'm not even me. You know who I am?
Who are you?
I'm Jimmy Durante. In person. I was walking down the street the other day. A guy walks up to me. He says, "Hey, is that your nose, or are you eating a banana?"
Wait a minute. Ushers, lock the doors. One of us is an imposter.
Wait a minute,
This guy is trying to open up a branch office.
Wait a minute, I can prove I'm Jimmy Durante. Listen to this. Everybody wants to get into the act. I love that kind of carryings on. I got a million of them. Well, if you're Durante, why don't you say something?
Oh, can I? You just did my act for the next 3 years. Now, come on, make up your mind. Which one are you, Cantor or Durante?
Neither. This is your old friend, Al Jolson. And listen to this, you ain't heard nothing yet, neither. No, that's Swanee. How I love you, my dear old Swanee. Yeah.
You know, if one of my relatives will come up and identify me, I'll go on with the program. But now, ladies and gentlemen, to add a little confusion to the bewilderment, as a special feature, we bring you the man who walks. You're the man who walks?
I had to. I missed the bus.
Why, it's Victor Moore. Victor, I love you, and it's good to see you again. And you know, I want to thank you for taking my place while I was away.
Tush, Jimmy. Nobody can take your place. Why, the first week that you were gone, they had Red Skelton and Gary Moore on the program. Then they had Bob Hope, then Frank Morgan, then Al Jolson.
Well, Victor, they were great, weren't they?
They couldn't have been. None of them lasted more than a week.
But what about you, Victor? You've been on for 4 weeks now.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point. Money.
Oh, tut, Victor, money isn't important. Money can't buy health. Money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy love.
Look, just give it to me and I'll do my own shopping. But I'm sure glad to see you looking so good, Jimmy. I heard you had a tough time of it.
Oh, it wasn't so bad, Victor. I had a beautiful nurse named Lillian, and the first night I was there, she brought in some fudge, put a piece between her lips, and told me to take a bite.
What happened then?
I spoke to Lillian yesterday. Her nose is healing nicely.
Never mind, Lillian. How was the fudge?
This boy has led a sheltered life.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have. You see, my family used to live next to the YWCA. And on their wash day, my father used to blindfold me.
Your father used to blindfold you?
Yeah, I was 27 before I found out that horses aren't the only ones that wear halters.
Oh, I see. I believe you, Victor.
Yeah, but I don't mind. Who cares about girls anyway?
Victor, you're not interested in the fast sex?
Nah, what fun can you have with girls that you can't have with a good set of electric chains?
That's my boy who said that. No other boy can make that statement. But let's forget about boys and get back to girls. Here comes one of my favorites now, Peggy Lee.
Hi, fellas. Jamesy boy, it's good to see you. Welcome back.
You make it real good to be back, Peggy. I'll lift up my nose and give you a homecoming kiss.
Jimmy, that was wonderful.
That's my Columbus kiss. It takes a long time to get around the horn, but what you discover is worth it.
Peggy, you do something to me, too.
I do?
Yeah, you make me feel like giving my wolf call.
Oh! Gosh,
Victor, you're really a gay dog.
Yeah, I was a gay dog. I used to be part wolf, but now I'm all setter.
He's all setter and I'm all pointer. Well, Peggy, have you got a song ready for us tonight?
I sure have, Jimmy. One especially for you and Victor, and it's called I Can't Give You Anything But Love, Baby.
Victor, we're lucky boys. Henry Wallace should have a third party like Peggy.
I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I've plenty of, baby. Dream a while, scheme a while, you're sure to find happiness, and I guess all those things you've always pined for. Gee, I'd like to see you looking swell, baby. Diamond bracelets Woolworth doesn't sell, baby. Till that lucky day, you know darn well, baby, I can't give you anything but love. I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I've plenty of, baby. Dream a while, scheme a while, you're sure to find happiness, and I guess all those things that you've always pined for. Gee, love to see you looking swell, baby. Diamond bracelets Woolworth doesn't sell, baby. Till that lucky day, you know darn well, baby, I can't give you anything but love.
Here's a 60-second story from the Rexall Laboratory.
Perhaps nobody does anything about the weather, but in the Rexall Control Laboratory, they certainly do a great deal about the way the weather affects Rexall packaged products. For this modern laboratory can reproduce weather conditions in any part of the world, and many Rexall packaged products are tested under all climatic conditions. The idea, of course, is to find the packaging that will stand up under any climate. For instance, it was found that cellophane didn't give enough protection for certain products in extremely humid areas. Aluminum foil, however, turned out to be just the right material. This is only one small operation in the great Rexall tradition of strict laboratory supervision and control. But it's one more reason why you can always depend on any product that bears the name Rexall.
So for any and for all of your household drug needs, always buy Rexall at Rexall drugstores everywhere.
If you want to be sure that the product is pure when you ask for a drug preparation, buy the Rexall line at the Rexall sign of Rexall identification.
Good health to all from Rexall.
You know, Victor, while I was convalescent from my recuperation, I came to the conclusion that you and I are playing the wrong types of roles in pictures.
What do you mean, Jimmy?
Well, they always cast you as a weakling. You should be one of those snarling, growling characters like Humphrey Bogart.
I should?
Yeah. Let me hear how you'd sound if you were snarling at Lauren Bacall.
Well, I just say, pucker up, baby. I got a face full of lips waiting for you. It's no use. No matter how much I crank it, I just can't get it to turn over.
Well, why don't we branch out together, Victor? We should produce our own pictures. Then we could do one of those exciting rough and tumble stories about counterfeiters, like the movie T-Men.
Gee, that's right up my alley.
Yeah. Why, we'll run every counterfeiter out of the country. Why, I can just hear them running now. I said I can hear them running now. A sound man is like General Eisenhower. You have to coax him before he'll run.
The T-Men, staunch protectors of the public welfare, two-fisted he-men who perform a tireless task for Uncle Sam's Treasury Department. Listen now to the words of a rugged T-Man who has just completed the vigorous 6-month training course of muscle building.
Give me a grape and I'll crush it.
Now I know how this guy got to be a T-Man. He keeps his brain in a little bag marked Orange Pico.
But the greatest T-Man of them all is T-Man Durante, who's been in the trail of the dangerous counterfeiter known as the Schemer. When finally cornered by Durante, the dangerous schemer looks up with his little beady eyes, draws back his vicious lips, and growls,
I'm a schemer, aren't we all?
Wait a minute. Step aside, schemer. It's T-Man Durante. What's your record?
Well, I've been a bank robber, a purse snatcher, a pickpocket, a train robber, and I've even committed murder.
I'd better watch this guy. He could turn crooked.
Well, I admit that I'm a counterfeiter, and to prove my contempt for you, I'll show you one of my bills.
Why are you making bills with Rita Hayworth in a bathing suit on them?
That way it's a pleasure to kiss your money goodbye. I got $1 million.
I'm off the program for 4 weeks, and impersonators are running amok here. But I'll get the goods on you yet, schemer. I'm going to get evidence, and I'll guarantee to employ ambiguous jurisprudence with confinement to maximum incarnation, and never again.
Never again what?
Never again will I stay up all night learning a speech like that. Well, you may have won this hand, schemer, but T-Man Durante will be back.
And Durante did come back. But first, he laid his groundwork carefully. He looked up an old crony of the schemers known as Freddy the Fish, who said,
Well, how do you do?
You know, Freddy the Fish sounds like he's been up the river. But tell me, Freddy, you were with the schemer when you last escaped from prison. How did you do it?
We carved a piece of soap into the shape of a revolver.
You carved a piece of soap into the shape of a revolver? How did you get rid of the evidence?
I swallowed it. Now I have only one thing to report.
What's that?
Armed with this valuable information and knowing that the schemer's weakness was women, Durante donned the disguise of a girl and went to the schemer's apartment. The schemer opened the door and, fooled by Durante's female attire, said,
Well, what can I do for you, miss?
Relax, Bob Topping. Your Lana Turner is here.
Look, whatever you've got, I think you delivered it to the wrong address.
Well, I know that you're a notorious counterfeiter, and you're just the kind of a guy I want. I need lots and lots of money.
But why do you need so much money?
To buy enough powder to cover this nose.
Gee, is that a real nose?
Of course. Do you think I'd wear a falsie?
Okay, cutie, and to show you I like you, here's a bottle of my favorite perfume. It's called Open the Cage Door.
Open the cage door?
Yeah, brings out the beast in me.
I love that kind of carrying on.
Wait a minute, I recognize that voice. You're not a woman at all. You're a T-Man.
That's right, and I'm going to take you in, schemer.
Wait a minute. I was going to take you in. I'm a T-Man, too.
Well, can you prove that you're a T-Man?
Certainly. Here's a piece of lemon I always carry in my pocket. It's neater than cream.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, we'll go after the schemer together. Let's go. We're two tough, terrible T-Men from Hollywood, and we're tougher than any tree men.
Gee, ain't we good?
We've got a gun and it's a little unorthodox. It shoots for 2 hours, then it stops and throws rocks. We're hard hunks of horrible he-men. We'll have that understood. The crime in this country will have a big shake-up
We'll scare every criminal when we take off our makeup.
We're two tough, terrible T-men from Hollywood.
Randy, you should have been with me on my last case. I tapped a guy who sold $1,000 bills for $150.
He sold $1,000 bills for $150? How could he afford that?
He didn't advertise.
He didn't advertise? We're hard hunks of horrible he-men. We'll have that understood.
We always get our men, but our brain is in a whirl.
We'll always get our man.
Can't we just once get a girl?
We're hard hunks of terrible T-men.
Horrible he-men.
Better than 3 men.
We're two tough, terrible
T-men
from Hollywood.
Friends, here are those foremost Rexall reminders for the week. Remember, 25% of America buys its drug needs in Rexall drugstores. Remember, Rexall is that large and respected family of more than 2,000 different drug products. Remember, you can always depend on any drug product bearing the name Rexall. Remember, Rexall drug products are available in Rexall drugstores everywhere.
Touche, Professor Peaton, and I'd like to add, I do my shopping at a Rexall store, buying Rexall drugs and furthermore. Umbriago, he prefers them too. We buy Rexall, that's all. How about you? Hey, who'll be with you when I'm far away? When I'm far away. Let me hear that high note, maestro. What a note. A note of real thanks, folks. Thanks from the bottom of my heart to all you wonderful people who wrote in and wished me well. Thanks, Victor Moore. And I also want to thank my good pals who pinched hit for me on the Rexall show while I was ill. Red Skelton, Gary Moore, Bob Hope, Frank Morgan, and Al Jolson. Thanks, fellas. And thanks to my many other friends in show business who volunteered to fill in for me. Believe me, you made me feel proud to be a member of this profession.
Ladies and gentlemen, the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis has spent $13 million in an effort to find a preventative and cure for polio. And until they are found, this expensive research must be continued.
That's right, folks. In order to pay for this work and care for the victims of this awful disease, every one of us has got to give more than ever to this year's March of Dimes.
Well, Rexall for tonight, and we'll be back with you next week. From Victor Moore, Peggy Lee, Candy Candido, Roy Bargy, and yours truly, Howard Petrie. The impersonations of Eddie Cantor, Jimmy Durante, and Al Jolson were performed by Jackie Green.
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. And Mrs. McGee, hold that place for me at Wonder Palms at Palm Springs.
This program was produced and directed by Phil Cohan. Good health to all from Rexall.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.